Blessings, Facebook family. This is your girl, inspirational author and life speaker, Angelina Squire. It's such a beautiful Friday, and I am indeed blessed and grateful that God saw fit to wake me up to see you guys on another Fruitful Friday where we share words of encouragement and speak life into each other. So thank you guys for watching my video again today on another Fruitful Friday. Today we're going to talk about what do you do when your life takes a detour? What do you do when your life does not go in the direction that you plan, that it goes in a completely direction of the way that you envision? It no longer looks like the way that God had shown it to you or spoken it into your life. So what do you do when it takes a detour and it feels as if God does not hear your prayers? It feels as if he's taking such a long time to answer or to assist you to manifest what he has already given you and to manifest those things that you have prayed to him about, your businesses, whatever your goals are, and things of that nature. Also, we're going to talk about, are there any benefits to life detours? Are there any benefits to life detours? So I'm going to ask you a question. Have you ever experienced, times in your prayer lives when it seems you just can't hear God's voice? It seems as if he's not listening to you. But sometimes it's in these very moments where he's actually speaking the loudest. We think that because we're not hearing an immediate answer or an immediate action to take, we assume that God is not listening, when in fact he's really telling us to just be still. There are some things that I'm trying to download to you. There are some things that I want you to see. There are some things that I want you to learn in this moment, in this space where you are right now on this little detour. You probably ask yourselves this same question, just like I have on numerous occasions. Like, Lord, how can this be fixed? How is it going to be fixed? Lord, or what am I doing wrong? Along with a whole laundry list of, Lord, I wonder this, and Lord, I wonder that. Or maybe I should go this way, or maybe I should just try it my own way, because God, I don't really think that your way seems to be working for me, because it doesn't look like what you have shown me. We all have plans and goals, dreams that we have for ourselves. But what happens when you planned it, right? You written it all down. You see it so clearly within your head. You go over this every day, but all of a sudden it takes on a whole new route. A completely different way. What are some of the things we quickly resort to, or we are moved to? Number one, we begin to complain. We complain, this is not how I planned it. This is not how I written it all down. This is not how God shown it to me. This is not going according to the steps that I have written down. It's just not adding up. Number two, we blame God. Yeah, we blame God. Number three, we go on to say, Lord, it's just taking too long. Number four, how much longer do I have to wait? And number five, we are prone to take matters into our own hands. This is where we just, come up with the notion of, well, I'll just help God out. Now, how many of y'all know that God doesn't need our help? No, we need his help. But when we want things fast enough and we're not understanding why we have this detour, why our plans have gone in a whole nother direction, then we feel that, we have to take the matters into our own hand. We have to, God, you're not doing what you're saying that you're doing, so I'm going to have to help you out. And guess what happens when we do that? We just completely mess it up. We completely mess it up. Because God created everything. He created us. So that means he knows everything about us. He knows what has happened to us. He knows what's going to happen to us, right? Are there any benefits to the unexpected detours within our lives? Yes. But have you stopped to just look within those obstacles? Look within that detour, while you're waiting, while it seems like you're in this holding space, to just take a look at, this area before you step into your dreams, step into your life, step into all of those things that you've been praying for. Have you stopped to notice that if you weren't introduced to that storm, if you didn't have to take that detour, if you didn't have to go another route, you would have missed out on some very valuable life lessons, right? Things that will prepare you later on within your life. You would have missed out on those things. But most importantly, you would have missed out on becoming more familiar with God. How many of you know that the more familiar that you become with God, the more familiar you become with yourselves, the more familiar you become with who you were created to be, right? So I'm going to say that again. The more that you become familiar with God, the more that you will become connected to, the more that you will begin to tap into who you really are, who you were really created to be. This is how you truly find your true identity. Life point number one. Waiting is not an opponent. Waiting is not an opponent. Waiting is not an enemy. Waiting shows that you have faith that the Lord can do the impossible. Waiting shows that you can believe that God is still working on the plan for your life, even though it looks totally, completely different than what you envisioned it to be. It looks totally different than when you first started out on your journey. Waiting is also an opportunity again for you to connect more with the Heavenly Father. Strength and instructions are developed in the waiting, right? Because you're going to need strength for the patience, right? You need the strength for the patience in the wait. And you need the instructions on the detour on how to reroute, to refocus, get back on course, and stay on course. So in the waiting, you're going to develop strength and you're going to develop patience and instructions, right? Don't rush. Let me give you one example. If I wouldn't have followed through, if I wouldn't have done what the Lord had shown me and told me to do, if I didn't follow through and complete it writing my first book, guess what? I would have missed out on hearing God's voice. I would have missed out on how to hear his voice in the midst of life pain, right? I would have missed out on how to trust him when life throws us a hard blow. And sometimes we get hit blow after blow after blow after blow. I would have missed out on knowing that we can have peace even when life situations are at their worst, right? I would have missed out on steps and instructions of how to declutter my mind when bills were mounting up, illness hit my body, when children became sick, facing foreclosure, car repossession. In the midst of all of this, when he was telling me to write a book, if I didn't follow through, I wouldn't have learned how to still hear his voice right in the middle of all of that confusion. I would have missed out on my purpose. I would have missed out on my calling. And I would have still been living without my true identity. See, because my past sins and my pain, pain, whether it was from someone talking about me, abuse from others, rape, alcohol, drug use, clubbing, bad relationships, among so many other things, all of that would have still been the deciding factor of my true identity if I wouldn't have followed through and been able to listen to his voice and understood that even though I went through some things and were going through some things, and even though it didn't look like what he had shown me, and even though I had to go a route that I didn't want to go, if I didn't follow through, I would have missed all of this. And all of this, what I'm saying, is growth, strength, power. So when things hit your life down the road, it will have less of an impact because you have gone through so much. You have gained strength. Your faith muscle has become more developed, right? Another life point. The process is more important than the destination itself. I'm going to say that again. The process is more important than the destination itself. Because in the process, again, like I told you before, there are tools, there are treasure, there are instructions that God needs to get to you. You would even receive more in that process, in that waiting on that detour, than the instruction you first received when you first received that vision. So there's more to that process. There's more to that detour than the obstacles that you see that you have to learn how to go through, right? So that process is more important than the destination itself. And again, it all involves your focus. How do you see yourself in this situation, and how do you see that situation? You can't see a detour as a dead end. There's always a way out. Some of you, you may be waiting for a job. You have put out many applications all over the place, and you're just waiting for a response, and you haven't received a response yet. Some of you may be praying for that loved one to become saved, and you've been praying for them for so many years, and it just seemed like, God, do you hear my prayer? When are they going to finally get it? They should be tired of their messed up life. Some of you, or maybe your loved ones, have an illness in your body, and you're waiting for your health to improve. You're tired of going back and forth to the doctors. You're tired of medications. You're tired of the back and forth battle, the up and down in your body. Some of you may be even in a job right now that you hate. And some of you not necessarily just hate the job in itself. You have become frustrated because you realize that there's more. There's something more within you. There's more to you than that job that you're on. So every morning that you get up now, you're frustrated because you have to go there. You no longer have a passion or a drive or a motivation to be there. You realize that you have several business ideas, several projects that can perhaps bring you even more income than that job you're on right now. And it will also provide you the opportunity to do something that you're highly passionate about. But this is the key. You have to first learn to be faithful right where you are. The bottom line, we do not like waiting. If I was to ask some of you right now, how do you feel about waiting, or how do you envision it? Some of you might say, well, it's just like being stuck in rush hour traffic. That's just how bad and how much we all hate waiting, right? If you're asking God to move you, He may be waiting for you to change your attitude, change your thinking in your situation. Look at your job. It may not be enough to do everything you're trying to do, but it's providing some of the things that you need. Maybe you need to look at that job and come up with ways of how that income can be used to further help what you're trying to accomplish or where you're trying to go, versus just going to work day after day depressed, because that will not get you out of that situation. Some people can quit their job today and start a business tomorrow, but that's not for everyone. That may not be for you. This is why we need to know how to hear God's voice, and this is why we need to be able to understand our detour. Your detour does not look like someone else's detour. Your process will not be the same as someone else. Your journey will not be the same as someone else. So whatever you're seeking, whatever you're trying to accomplish, do not give up. Do not quit in the wait. Do not turn to your own solutions of self-protection, because of fear and anger may result because things are not moving fast enough, or perhaps not going in your desired direction. When you lose focus in the wait, you may compromise your stance. You may do wrong instead of doing right. Don't focus on the detour so long that you miss the treasures along the way. So I pray that this video has blessed you as it has blessed my life. Don't look at your detour as a dead end. And as I leave you today, I'm going to leave you with this last life point. Repeat it over and over and apply it to your life. It will change your mindset. It will begin to help you to look at your detour in a different light. Your waiting will encourage others by giving you a greater ability to witness. This is what it's all about. This is why you're going through some of the things that you're going through. It's not to kill you. It's not to take you out. That's a lie from the enemy. Everything that you're going through, God is going to use it. He's going to use you to bless the lives of someone else. Thank you for joining me on another Fruitful Friday. May God continue to bless your lives, increase your faith, build your strength, and direct you to your best self. Be blessed.